So today is World Suicide Prevention Day. I can't even begin to say how many lives have been affected by suicide, how many people have taken their own lives throughout these, past 10, 20 years. The number is staggering, especially in the trans community. This is something that needs to stop. We need to help people. We need to reach out. We need to hide the stigma of mental illness and, we need to just be more accepting and more loving towards one another. I myself have thought about killing myself. I have been in places where I was very close to doing so. Um, Suicide is something that has affected me very personally. A very close family member attempted suicide when I was 8. I was told it was an accident and they didn't mean to take that many pills. I learned firsthand and saw firsthand what it meant to be so sad that this person didn't want to watch their kids grow up, didn't want to, see what was around the corner, just was lost in all of this darkness and, couldn't see a light. I'm here to say to you, if this is you, if you're struggling right now, if there's things that you're going through that you feel like you just cannot handle, it does get better. Life is really difficult and, it's never easy, but the best things in life are worth fighting for. Don't discredit or devalue yourself. You are worth fighting for. You deserve happiness and hope and peace and prosperity and all of those things. With that being said, I will share my story. I was born July 20th, 1990. I was the first child to my mother, her first and only daughter. I was exceptionally close with my grandmother. If you can have a soulmate in a person, then my grandmother was my soulmate. She passed away from cancer when I was 6. When I turned 6, my dad lost his job and he started drinking heavily. My mom got into a lot of depression and did things that she shouldn't have done and wasn't home as much as she needed to be. We all make mistakes as parents and people, and I suffered a lot as a child, feeling the absence of my parents and feeling like I wasn't loved and that, I didn't matter. And I think a lot of people go through this type of thing when they're raised in an alcoholic family or a drug addicted family or just any type of family scenario where the mother and father don't value their children the way that they should. I was told that my mom didn't love me by my dad and that, she didn't want anything to do with me. And as a child, your self-esteem goes down so much when you hear from somebody that your parent doesn't love you. And you might have already felt this way to begin with because children need lots of love and devotion and attention, and unfortunately I wasn't able to have that as a child. I cut myself for the first time when I was 13 years old. I struggled with depression and anxiety, and I was very unhappy a lot of the time. I was lost, and I couldn't find my way. There were times when I thought that no one would miss me. I thought that no one would notice that I was gone, that I didn't matter, that the world would move on even if I wasn't in it. I got into a relationship that was not good for me, and it wasn't good for her either. We were very toxic for each other, but we stayed together for almost 6 years. We were high school sweethearts, if that's what you want to call it. Before the age of 22, I buried 2 children. My ex-wife carried our son, who was stillborn, at 16 weeks. I carried our daughter 2 years and 2 days later, who was stillborn at 34 weeks. Losing Ryan has been the hardest thing that I have ever gone through and continue to go through. You don't ever think, as a parent, especially being as young as I was, that you'll have to bury your child or sit in a funeral home and talk about what kind of casket they're going to be in and what kind of outfit you want them to wear. I didn't want to live in a world that my daughter wasn't in. I didn't want to keep growing old when I knew she never would. A world without my daughter wasn't a world that I wanted to live in. There was a lot of darkness in my life. There still is darkness. But I got a hold of my doctor and I told him the way that I was feeling, and I got started on some depression medicine, which really helped to pull me out of the hole that I was in. When you're depressed, you're in a hole. Other people who aren't are on a hill, and they can see backwards and see all their happy, good memories, and they can see forward and see all the things that they have to look for. When you're depressed and you're in that hole, all you see is darkness. You don't see in front of you. You don't see behind you. And the only thing that accompanies you down there is those voices in your head that are telling you you're not good enough and you're not worthy and you're not anything. I struggled with feeling like that for a long time. And some days I still do. When you're emotionally abused, it's hard to overcome things like that. But you can overcome them. You can take the broken pieces of yourself and rebuild something even better. In China, they used to fill the cracks of broken pottery with gold. And people actually started breaking pottery because the gold-filled one was worth so much more. You may have been broken in life, whether it was by somebody else, whether it was by an event that occurred, whether it was by anything, but you can fill those cracks with gold. You'll never be the same person you were, but it doesn't mean you'll matter any less. I went on a year later. My ex delivered our son, Jace, healthy, and 7 days later I delivered our son, Jackson, who was also healthy. I cried the whole way when I left the hospital because I never thought that I would know what it was like to leave with two babies. I'd only left with a purple box, outfits that were only going to be worn once, things that would only touch my daughter one time. I had hours to shove in a lifetime of love with her, and it wasn't enough. But as the time passed, I was given the opportunity to fall in love all over again. And I did. I still miss my daughter every day, but I see her in my son's faces. And I know that she's with me in here. Because when you really love somebody, they never die. They live inside you for the rest of your life and in everybody that knew them. My marriage failed. I didn't want to live anymore, even though I had my children, the things that I had wanted my entire life. I thought that no one would ever love me or my kids the way that they deserved, that no one would want to raise somebody else's children. I felt like I wasn't worth anything because the person I had given my entire life to didn't find me good enough anymore. I thought I didn't deserve to be loved the way that I wanted. And very, very shortly after, I met Gabby. I started taking anxiety medication, depression medication. I went to a counselor twice a week. I wanted to be better for my kids. I wanted to be better for her. I wanted to be better for myself. And I was better for a little while. Unfortunately, I was on medication that didn't work, and I had doctors who wouldn't help me to switch to a new medicine or adjust my dose. So I attempted to wean myself off of my medication, and I ended up in the hospital in the psychiatric floor. I didn't want to live again. Here I was in the same darkness that has swallowed me so many times in my life, and I just wanted all the hurt and the pain to be over. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I pushed through that, and I'm still here today. I would have denied Gabby's parents the privilege of knowing their grandchildren. I would have denied myself the privilege of spending 4th of July's with my children. I would have denied my mother the chance to love my kids just the way my grandma loved me. I would have denied my children a family. When you feel that way and you feel like nobody cares about you, it's important to look in your life and realize that the people that care may be found where you least expect them. If you have nobody in your life and you feel like no one cares about you, just know that I do. I don't need to know you to know that you're a good person and that you're worth it. You just need to look inside yourself. We all have ugly, we all have things that we wish we could change about ourselves. But having bad things doesn't make you any less worthy of being loved. My friends, that's Gabby, and that's my best friend Donald, loved me through everything. Through my breakdowns, through my hospital stay. You can't be strong all the time. It's okay to have moments of weakness. It's okay to be sad and to struggle. But don't ever lose sight, if you can help it, of the things that are going to happen for you. There are great things in store for you. My mother loves my children. And even though I didn't feel love the way that I wanted to as a child, I see the way that she loves them, and that makes it okay. You know, my brother lives with me, and my boys love to annoy him, but they adore him as well. And all the times that I didn't want to live anymore, and all the times that I wanted to let go, I didn't know that there was so much more that I had to accomplish in life. And I just want to say to you that there's so much more that you have to look forward to. I buried babies. I suffered emotional abuse. I had best friends die. I had people die who I was extremely close with. I lost myself and found myself countless times. And after going through all of that, I am now the proud mother of 2 beautiful boys and the proud wife of somebody who loves me the way that I've always wanted. I am happy in a way that I never thought I would be. And that doesn't mean I still don't struggle, because I do. I may always struggle, but I'll always get back and keep fighting to go through this life. A great man once said, or it was written that he said, happiness can be found in the darkest of places if one only remembers to turn on the light. There is a light within you that you feel may have been extinguished, but it's there. Tend to yourself and your needs. Don't be afraid to get help. It does get better, and it will get better for you, I promise. And for those of you who didn't see any light for whatever reason, I think of you always, and I wish the best for you. And this video is not only for myself, who's considered suicide many times. This video is also for Gabby's cousin, Caleb, who left us too soon and left behind many people hurting and broken who love him and miss him daily. It's hard to live a life that you don't want to, but you can change that life. And it's never too late to live the life you want, and it's never too late to be who you want to be. Get help for yourself, from a friend, from a family member, from a counselor, from a hospital stay. Do what you have to do. You are worth it, and don't ever give up. Don't ever forget that. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. And just know that I'm thinking of all of you out there and hoping for the best in life for all of you.